I'm representing myself as a person who's had experience in the public school system, who is the president of the board of my homeowners association, so I understand about budgeting and planning. And I'm a marriage and family therapist, so I understand what it takes to bring people together. So those three skills are something that I think can make an impact on the board, and I'm hoping to implement ways in which we can more actively involve parents in the community, along with teachers and administrators. So that's who I'm representing. Okay, the three issues that I see are really important. Number one is the burgeoning student population. Number two, the budget issues that go along with that. And number three, um, community involvement. So, how would I deal with it? Um, Let me give you a little bit of the background behind that. First of all, when I decided to run for the board, I looked through all the meetings for this year, and I saw that the board itself had commissioned an analysis of student population and neighborhood population. And in that analysis, which was given to the board in April, they had predictions for how big the student population would be, a low, medium, and high for the total student population. So this was done in April. Their high estimate was around 1,920 students in this district. When I went to the board meeting the last board meeting, the student population was already higher than that. It was at 1,934. So I think the board needs to, using these facts, get really behind some things that need to be accomplished very soon. One would be a complete facility analysis to see what structures do we have, what facilities do we have. I live near Mary Silvera. I live right next to the school, and they've put in a lot of portable classrooms. While they work, I don't know how much more room they have, and I'd want to know, how many rooms do we have? I believe there are teachers available, so that's not the crucial thing. I'm talking about the physical space. Where are we going to handle these children, and how are we planning for the future? The other part of this came out of the demographics. There's a high percentage of people in their over 65. And what we've seen is that often when they get a little older, they move out. Younger families with small children move in. So that's another piece of the pie that needs to be looked at very carefully, because we need to plan for that effectively. And I would hope that on the board I'd be able to do that. As far as the budget issues that go along with that are, I know this district had a lot of issues around, because of the downward spiral of the economy and lowering of property taxes, that it impacted the budgeting very considerably. That's beginning to turn around. Whether we can plan appropriately around that or not, I'm not sure. But that's something that I would want to look at carefully, because if real estate property taxes are going up, since we're a basic aid district, I think it's important. And are you familiar with that term, what a basic aid district is? Mm-hmm. Okay, a basic aid district relies on local property taxes. There are other kinds of districts, but we rely on local property taxes. So that's one is part of the budgeting crisis. And the third another piece of that is the fact that local community control funding has become effective this year. That's a result of Prop 30, which was elected, was approved last year at the last year election, which is giving more money to the schools. So some of the budgeting issues need to be taken into account very carefully. And for the third issue, as far as community involvement is concerned, this district has a program called Can Do. And Can Do is an integral part of what helps the schools stay so effective in their quality of education. And this year, Can Do is raising $825,000. and they have matching business funds. Most of the money comes from parents. And so I think engaging with Can Do can also effectively help garner more community involvement. So that's my long answer to that question. Well, the Dixie School District has a business manager, and he reports to the board. And I've been looking at the reports very carefully and the budgeting. And the way I see the budgeting going, it seems to be all on the up and up. There are shared services with the county board. So things like buying paper and supplies for the schools are centrally procured. And so what I see here is that it would behoove anybody on the board to carefully look at the budgeting and to see that it's done appropriately. What I've seen so far seems really clean and clear. I would think that's necessary because we need to look, not just look, but be impartial and fair and and treat teachers, students, the administrators, the community with a level of respect that is deserved. And so maintaining that impartiality is really important. Being able to take a broad overview of what the whole district needs, not just one child or one teacher or one administrator. So it's being able to have that big picture point of view. Impartiality, fairness, balance, all of that is crucial. And not showing favoritism, really being clear and objective. One of the things the California Ed Code has to do with, specifically starting this year, is the implementation of the core curriculum. And I know at the county board they've been doing a lot of work on being prepared for the implementation of it. And so there's been a lot of work on curriculum, and I'm thrilled to hear and to see that the core curriculum is more focused on critical thinking skills rather than rote learning. And I think that is so important, especially in this day and age when there's so much information available. How do we get kids to be able to think something through on their own without being biased, just being able to weigh the facts. And that's what I'd like to be able to do more of. Well, I know that one of the things that's important with members of elected boards, trustees, is one part of it is the Brown Act, and that says that no more than 2 board members can meet together to discuss an issue outside of board meetings. So that would alleviate a lot of the corruption that could happen and favoritism and bipartisanship that could come through. So that, I think, is a really strong code of ethic that I would abide by.